Thanks for tuning in and checking out another episode of Unlucky, a memoir. My name is Kat. Everyone has a story. This one just happens to be mine. Welcome back. Yes, that is snow you see behind me. Colorado has been a little bipolar. It was 70 degrees, I think, yesterday, and then now today it snowed almost all day. So I guess we'll start off with grateful to my boss for sending me on a little mini vacation over the last weekend where you saw the new location and the filming. It was much needed and much appreciated. Ironically, I made it back in time to go to service. And everybody at church who I serve with, they're all looking at me like, "What are you doing here?" And I had to do no welcome back, no hello. But it's nice to know they care enough that they didn't want to see me there because they wanted me to get some rest and just be away and decompress a little bit. But as I showed them when I walked in the church, there's no lanyard. I'm here to attend service tonight. I'm not here to serve in any capacity. And they're all grateful for that. And I'm grateful for them to have people, a community of people around me that care enough about me to worry, you know? And that's good. And my boss gave explicit instructions to everybody not to bother me over the weekend. And that's including one of the reps we use. He had called me on or messaged me on Monday or Tuesday. And he goes, "I know you're on vacation. Don't call me till you get back because I don't want to bother you." And I called him right back after I got the message. And he was like, "Are you on vacation?" Because I was given explicit directions not to talk to you if you're on vacation. I had to explain I was back. But it's nice to have people care about me in a way that they want to make sure I get enough R&R time where I don't burn out. And that's a good feeling. And it's actually a humbling feeling to know that I have that many people that care about me. And that kind of leads me into the topic for today of that old saying, either be humble or get humiliated, right? And I couldn't even begin to count how many times I'd been humiliated because I refused to humble myself. And amazing things have happened in the past couple of years. And I brought this up the other week when I said the 2 Corinthians quote, "All those who are in Christ are new creations." And I don't even recognize myself most days anymore. And I have to question, am I really doing this? Because it's so foreign to me. Like, to be humble enough to know I don't have to be the loudest person in the room anymore. Like, there's many meetings I sit in where other people have to amplify their voice or talk over other people to be heard, where I still get the urge, but I don't do it. I sit back and wait for a break and then speak. And I get, from what I can tell, I get respect from my coworkers for that. I get respect from other people I'm around for that. And I'm not perfect. I still do it. There's times that I find myself so eager to get my point into the conversation. I talk over people, and I do my best to rectify that immediately. And that's also why, like, one of my coworkers the other week said, like, he goes, "What I see in you is you have a very high moral and ethical code about you." And that meant a lot to me. And like I said, I don't do this stuff for the accolades. It doesn't hurt, but I do this because I want to be a better person. And going back to my mantra, I'm not worried about being better than the next man. I'm worried about being better than the man I was yesterday. And that's important to me. And I believe I've been moving in that direction, and it feels good. And I no longer have to prove myself. I no longer have to, I'm not worried about being right anymore. Another saying, it's better to be kind than right. And I've adopted that. I do my best. And again, I still fall short of that, where I truly believe I know something and I have to get it out there, only to later find out that I was inaccurate. And then I have to humble myself enough to go and make that situation right. Because what I found through my faith is that if I don't go and make it right, I have trouble sleeping. It'll weigh on my mind weeks, months even, until I make that right. And I am far from perfect, but I feel like such a different person today because of these things. And like the big one, the key one for recovery, right, is being able to humble yourself enough to ask others for help. In this situation that I brought up in the last video, it's still weighing on me. It's a heavy thought in my mind. And I humbled myself enough. I talked to my boss about it when we had a little supervision meeting. Because, I mean, he's a clinical therapist too, so it doesn't hurt. And bounce it off of him. And then when I did go to church, I think that's one of the reasons I made it back to church on Sunday, because I could talk to my pastor. I talked to a couple people I consider close friends and just bounce it off of them. And it wasn't so much anything they said, just the fact that they were there to listen that really helped and let me express myself and talk about what's going through my mind and what's bothering me. And that's why, like, I always push so hard when I'm doing facilitations with clients, how important community is, and to humble myself enough to be part of a community and not have to be the center of attention, not having to be in control of that community. And don't get me wrong, I love to joke around and play around with people in that community. But like, I'm trying to find my time, like where I can fall back and let others be in the forefront. And it's not who I've ever been. I've always felt the need to try to be seen. And now I'm coming to find when I'm not the loudest person, when I'm not pushing myself to the forefront, I'm actually seen more. People are actually more willing to see me. Whereas sometimes when you're too loud, people just shut off and don't want to be a part of it. And like, I understand, like, I don't run with my troubles all the time. I don't always have trouble. So, but when I do, they know they're important. When I come to other people for that advice, they know they're important. And they listen, they see me and they hear me. And that's a great feeling. And I have a question for y'all. This may end up being a little bit shorter of a video this week, but I was just reading 1 Kings 3, and it's talking about Solomon, son of King David, when he takes over the throne. And he goes up to the mount to sacrifice to God. And when he falls asleep, God comes to him in his dream. And God presents himself to him and says, ask me for anything that you want. And like, thinking about it, what would you ask for? Right? You have the creator of the universe saying, ask me for anything. What would you ask for? And I could only hope that I could come anywhere near close to what Solomon asked for. Because he asked for discernment and wisdom. He didn't ask for riches or castles or armies or any of the things that were of utmost importance, especially at that time in the world, let alone now. Like, I know most people will be like, give me $1 billion or whatever it is, women or cars, but he asked for discernment. And I could only hope to be that humble to know, first off, I don't deserve anything. And it's only by God's grace, right? And to be able to ask for wisdom and discernment, knowing that it's not only going to benefit me, it's going to benefit everyone around me. And this brings me to something else I've said a few times on here. that I've come to find that as I've become humble and understand I don't do any of this seeking money or accolades or any of that, because that's not why I'm doing it. The less I seek, the more I'm given. And a perfect example is the next part of that. After Solomon asked God for wisdom, God is pleased with Solomon's request, and not only grants that request, but he grants him riches beyond anything his father had ever seen, anything the kingdom of David had ever seen. And he promised him, he gave him a long reign. And again, like he wasn't seeking that, but the less he saw it, the more he was given. And I understand that now. Like, the less I seek, the more I'm given. And I'm not talking about monetary or accolades, but I get those. But so much in here, I have this calm, this peace about me that never was there, that I trust that no matter what comes tomorrow, everything's going to work out. I'll make it through. And that's a great feeling. So I guess, what would you ask for if you were put in that position, right? With that, I am truly grateful for all those who sit and watch these videos every week and come along in this journey with me. And that is humbling, to have people that are interested in what I have to say on here about my life and what I'm going through, what I've been through. I'm truly grateful for that. And those that comment and respond, like, that's awesome. I love the interaction. So I'm truly grateful. And with that, catch y'all next week.